HB 2858 by Lopez of Bear relating to the establishment of a temporary guest worker program in this state.
Chair recognizes Mr. Lopez of Bear.
Thank you, Speaker. Members, this is a temporary guest worker program. Let me tell you real quickly what it is not. It is not an intent to create a pathway to citizenship. It doesn't expand illegal immigration. It doesn't do any of that stuff. What it does, with federal approval, is simply allows Texas to partner with established lawful temporary work to establish a temporary guest worker program existing non-immigrant visa rules.
Mr. Olcott, for what purpose?
Mr. Speaker, yes. Would the gentleman yield for a question?
Absolutely.
Gentleman yields for questions.
Representative Lopez, since January of 2021, we've had over 5 million illegal boarding crossings into our state, not including gotaways. Why are we trying to pass a program that would bring even more immigration in our state, especially considering the H-2A agricultural visas are uncapped?
Well, there's several reasons that we should be doing it. The primary reason that I'm bringing it forward is because I've gotten a lot of encouragement from chambers of commerce, from different labor organizations, from different service organizations that say they desperately need workers. The comment that you made was there's been a lot of illegal crossings. This is not an illegal crossing bill. This is about bringing a legal process by which the governor's office would work with the Texas Workforce Commission to establish a positive immigration program that would allow us to fill jobs that the Texas Workforce Commission has identified as having a shortage of workers. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to move business forward. I think we all agree that business needs the labor force, needs a qualified labor force, but it's got to be a legal labor force. It also has an opportunity for us to go in and do all types of validations, whether it's biometric validation, whether it's ICE reporting and things of that nature, to ensure that these individuals, if they for some reason extend their time here, their legal time here, that they will be sent back, that they will be arrested and sent back. And that's the issue of this program. It's being really brought forward to be able to bring Texas labor force to bear with the need.
But Representative Lopez, you do understand that the presence of all these additional illegal aliens that have come in there are going to suppress wages and hurt the working wages of some of the most vulnerable people, the blacks, Hispanics, the people. How do you feel about this?
I appreciate you saying that. That was one of the major concerns that I had with it. But the assurance that I've gotten is that this program would be identified by Texas Workforce Commission and identify just those labor positions that we have a shortage in. We would only recruit those individuals, bring them over to be able to fill those jobs, which I believe balances off the labor force that we need to be able to keep our economy going. So with that, I absolutely believe that this is, with all the possibilities of there being error, there's plenty, I think, safeguards to make sure that error is minimized and that this is a good program for Texas.
Well, I'm also wanting to ask if you're aware of the fact that since the Bureau of Labor Statistics, January 2025 current population survey, 12%, only 12% of the job growth since the COVID in 2020, only 12% has gone to U.S.-born citizens. Are you aware of that?
No, I'm not aware of that, but I don't doubt it.
And you can see how, by bringing in more guest workers, that's going to make it even more of a competitive situation.
It certainly could be, but I'll tell you what is even more competitive is that we have a shortage of housing workers. We have a shortage in our lodging industry. We have a shortage in our restaurant industry, and that's creating a significant problem with our businesses. That's what I'm trying to address.
Okay, and then finally, I just want to mention the fact that I know you're on the other side of the aisle, but according to Texas Geo priorities, border security, universal E-Verify, and mandatory 287G are two of the top priorities for the GOP, and none of those have been brought to the floor yet. And now we're talking about bringing in, voting on a guest worker program that's contrary to the GOP platform. So I'll be voting no. Thank you, sir.
I appreciate your comments, and I understand that you vote no regardless of what I brought forward, but I can tell you that this is a very good program that has been validated by a
Mr. Romero,
number
for
of
what
chamber
purpose?
individuals that I have a lot of confidence in.
Mr. Romero, for what purpose?
Does the gentleman yield for questions?
Yes, sir.
Gentleman yields for questions.
You may or may not know this, Representative Lopez, but I'm in the construction business. I'm in the residential construction business in our state. When you mentioned the Texas Workforce Commission identified jobs, these are specific jobs that the Texas Workforce Commission has already identified as jobs that businesses in Texas are struggling to find employees for, or potentially even contractors for, thus leading to were we talking about delays in construction, adding to the cost of homes? What did they say to you is one of the reasons why we should address workforce shortages?
Well, Chairman Romero, that's exactly the issue that we're trying to address. We have a shortage in the development of our business sector, whether it's in construction or many of the other industries. This will allow, through the governor's office, Texas Workforce Commission to work with the federal government to make sure that we identify what jobs we want to bring over, make sure that we put the level of oversight for these individuals that come over, and make sure that they come over here and deliver a service. Yeah. Just remembering as well, these are legal workers in our country, paying taxes, doing the kind of work that we need to get done that we have struggled to be able to get a workforce to accomplish. I think that that's why this bill certainly meets the time, meets the need for Texas today.
Thank you. Can you help me address how your bill proposes ensuring that we're working with the federal government to ensure that you can calm the fears of those like Representative Alcott, that this is not about promoting undocumented or illegal immigration. This is about how so many of folks have said, if you're going to come here, do it the right way. What you're offering is the right way for these people. So what is going to be the right way that you work with the federal government to ensure that this gets done correctly and making sure that there's no abuses?
Well, there's multiple opportunities for engagement from different levels, from federal to state. At the state level, it's the Texas Workforce Commission working at the direction of the governor's office to make sure that we identify the jobs that we need. Then it's making sure that the outreach that we do through the federal government does not violate any of the rules that we currently have from a federal level. And then on top of all of that, it will be administered and validated and have oversight by ICE, which I believe all of those are the entities that will make this program functional, make sure that the right people are coming into our country, doing the work that is needed, and then if they happen to violate, that they will be sent back.
And is there a time period at which this guest worker program would work? Is it like a 6-month visa? Is this a year-long visa? What's the time period by this work permit?
I'm not advised of the exact time frame, but I do believe that it can vary from 6 months to 12 months. But all of it will be predetermined by Texas Workforce Commission and under the direction of the governor's office and federal programs.
So these are going to be people that not only have been identified as being safe, they've been identified as potentially already having the tools and training necessary to come in and be productive the minute they hit the ground here in Texas. Is that your understanding of how this would work?
Absolutely. And that's why I opened it up by saying what it is not. It is not a path to citizenship. It's not any of those kinds of things that some people would obviously have concerns with. What it is meeting a need within our economy here in Texas, and I believe that this is the best approach. And oh, by the way, Attorney, this is not the first time that Texas has done this. We had these programs back in the day called the Bracero programs. We had other opportunities where we would partner with our neighbors to the south to make sure that they correctly identified individuals that had the skill sets that could deliver into our workforce. We've done it before. We can certainly do it again, and the time is now to do that.
Well, I appreciate you addressing an urgent matter, Representative Lopez, and I think that this is a tremendous one. I plan on speaking for it as well.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Speaker,
Mr. Raymond, for what purpose?
could you first just tell me how much time is left on?
We are 11 minutes and 14 seconds into
Okay.
the gentleman's layout.
Thank you. Would the gentleman yield for a couple of questions?
Does the gentleman yield for questions?
Absolutely.
Gentleman
Thank-
yields.
Thank you, Representative. So I've long said that I feel like a big part of the answer moving forward is making sure that people who are here illegally, who are given jobs by United States citizens, should be here. We can give a permit so they're here legally. And I think that's, my impression is that's where you're trying to get with this bill. Is that right?
Yes, sir, that's
Okay.
absolutely right.
So part of what as I've walked around the floor talking to some of the Republicans, their concern is that the way the bill is written, it says to bring more people in. And I think, who was it on the opening back here? Mr. Alcott made the point, hey, you know, there's so many here, so many people here. Your bill is saying let's bring some more over. You heard that, right?
I did.
So, you know, what I would like to ask is, do you think it would be possible to see if we could work with some of the Republicans here about language that speaks to the people who are here only, who are already here, so that your bill is not one that can be interpreted as we want to bring more people over here from other countries, but instead we want to work with businesses in the state of Texas, probably some that, you know, some of the folks here, some of the members here may work for some of those businesses, but to work with businesses in Texas who have hired people here and who have them here illegally, but they need them to make the companies work. Whether you think maybe we could try to work on an amendment, if you'd be open to pulling the bill down, postponing for a little bit, trying to get an amendment that speaks to the governor, because your bill directly says the governor would work with and get essentially permission by the administration in Washington, by President Trump, right? That's the way your bill is written?
Exactly.
Would you be open to pulling it down to see if we could, and postpone it to see if we could get an amendment that does what I think you're really trying to do, which is trying to address the issue of the people who are here already, who have been hired by United States companies, by Texas companies, but they've hired them because they need those workers because Americans won't take those jobs. So, hold on a second. The governor, yeah. So I know this is where this bill to pass. It would be the governor and President Trump who would decide whether or not to move forward. That's correct, right?
That is correct.
Would you be interested in trying to do that to see if we could actually get some good lawyers like Mitch Little over here to help us write it up in a way that is acceptable to what you're actually trying to do, which is address the people
And
here?
the answer is generally yes. I'm open to making sure that we get the right instruction through the governor's office into Texas Workforce Commission to make this a workable program.
But also to go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
But I can also tell you, while you mentioned that there are some Republicans in this House that feel that this is a threat of some sort, have concerns with it, would like to look at it some more, would like to put more safeguards on it. There are many that are also saying, let's move forward with this. This is absolutely what we need. The business community needs it across multiple industries. And as long as we have the governor's office oversight with Texas Workforce Commission, working with existing laws, federal laws that are going to be overseen by ICE, this is a good bill as it stands today.
I hear you, but if you get 50 Republicans to vote no on this bill, it's not going to pass the Senate, is what I'm told. That's what I'm told. So I'm trying to help you in something that
Sure.
I believe in. I believe that we should work with existing companies here in Texas who have already hired people illegally, but they've done it because they need that workforce to be able to operate, and to work with them and to make it clear that this is not a bill that is seeking to open the floodgates to bring more people. That's not what this, I think that's your primary interest is
Absolutely.
addressing those who are here already. That's my impression, but would that be right? That that's what you're trying to do?
Say that again?
My impression is that your main interest is trying to address the people who are here already, working here already.
No, that's not the intent of the bill.
That's not?
It is not the intent of the bill. The intent of the bill is not to give jobs to individuals that are here illegally. The intent of the bill is to work in collaboration with the Mexican government, as we have regulation today, that allows us to be able to bring specific skill sets that into Texas to be able to fill specific needs that the Texas Workforce Commission has identified. That is the intent of the bill.
Okay, thanks.
That's what the bill says.
The chair recognizes Mr. Lopez Abair for a motion.
Okay. Mr. Speaker, I move to postpone further consideration of House Bill 2858 until 6:30 today.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair hears none, so ordered.
Chair lays out House Bill 2858 as a matter of postponed business on second reading. The clerk will read the bill.
HB 2858 by Lopez of Bear relating to the establishment of a temporary guest worker program in this state.
Mr. Lopez.
Thank you, Speaker. Members, was here just a few minutes ago, and I think we had a pretty robust discussion around the layout for this temporary guest work program. I don't want to read the entire layout again for sake of putting some of you to sleep, but I will read a small piece of it. I think that is critical. It says, only jobs that are certified by the Texas Workforce Commission as lacking available Texans will be eligible to come in as a worker. Workers must pass a background check, meet federal visa requirements, and carry biometric IDs. Chairman Bell, you'll appreciate that, including fingerprints. If they overstay, ICE will be notified and appropriate action will be taken. I mean, at the end of the day, what we're looking for is to bring individuals in that are qualified to meet the requirements that we have identified as a state. All of this will be done by Texas Workforce Commission under the auspices of the governor in conjunction with the federal requirements. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'd be willing to take any questions. Or
Mr. Darby, for what purpose?
Will the gentleman yield?
Does the gentleman yield for questions?
Absolutely.
Gentleman
Thank
yields
you.
for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. I think the genesis for this bill probably originated from a conversation you and I had last summer, did it not?
yes, sir, that's correct.
You know, I'm familiar with this program. Growing up in West Texas, we had labor shortages, whether it be shearing sheep or working cattle or working the fields, crops. There would be ranchers and farmers that would go down to Mexico under this Becerro program. And if I'm correct, that program was in effect from 1942 until 1964. So this is a program that we've tried before and it worked. It certainly worked in my area to address the shortages in the labor force. And your bill is designed and it's styled temporary guest worker program. Each one of those words is important. It's temporary, correct?
Correct.
Is this a permanent program or is this a temporary program?
Temporary with lots of restrictions.
The second word is guest. Does this mean it leads to permanent status here in the United States, or are they simply a guest?
They're a guest.
And what does the word worker mean to you?
It's an individual that is coming into function in a industry that has been identified by the Texas Workforce Commission to be able to be of need and of lacking in labor support.
Now, will this program lead to workers bringing their families or claiming benefits here in Texas?
No, sir. Specifically, it does not allow that to happen. These individuals are allowed to come in, do the work as prescribed by their permit, with oversight from the federal government as well as the Texas Workforce Commission. And at the point that permit expires, they will need to report back into their home country. Their home country has also agreed to send them and provide us that level of coordination.
Now, aren't there obligations put upon the employer that they're responsible for these workers that come over, and they're responsible to make sure that they attend for work, and if they're not working, then they report that to the authorities? Is that correct?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, the employers need to apply and qualify for these positions that are going to be made available, and then the recruitment will come. I mean, for those folks that think this is going to be a program where you send an 18-wheeler down to the border, pick up a bunch of people, bring them into the United States and release them to go to work, that is not what this program does. What this program does is establish a process by which we are able to bring in, as we all want, legal, contributing individuals to come and meet our workforce here in Texas, putting our economy, making our economy even stronger.
And finally, doesn't Canada have this exact same program? With
Yes,
some
my
change?
understanding is true.
I mean, Canada has has utilized this program to provide temporary shortages in labor for their various businesses there in Canada, and it's been widely successful, has it not?
It has been very successful. Yes,
I think it's a good bill. I think people should get over kind of a natural inclination not to examine the merits of the program itself. This has safeguards in it. It is a temporary. It has to do with guests, and it has to do with working. And
Well,
I think
appreciate your comments,
that's what this state's about. Thank you for the bill.
thank you. Move passage.
The chair recognizes Mr. Olcott in opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I have to admit, I'm in shock. While we have really good immigration bills stalled in committees, like a really good E-Verify bill, 287G, which is going to require local law enforcement to work with the Trump administration to help them with deportations. The first bill that comes to our House addressing this is a bill to bring in even more immigration. As I said, more than 5 million foreign nationals have come into this country over the last few years. And if you're, the other side of the aisle likes to talk about wages. It's a supply and demand thing. You bring in more people, it's going to suppress wages. If there is a shortage in any of these fields, it probably means they're not getting paid enough money. And I cannot believe that we're here talking about passing legislation that, according to the Republican Party of Texas platform, it calls for the reduction and or elimination of guest worker program, not the expansion. And I'll be voting no. Thank you.
Mr. Lopez of Bear to close on the bill.
Thank you, Chairman. As well as I want to thank the State Affairs Committee for listening to my bill on one day and the next day having a reading on it and getting it out, recognizing of the importance of it. Chairman Darby JA'd the bill, and I'm real honored to have him on that team. I've got a few others that are willing to support this bill, and I move passage.
The question occurs on passage to engrossment of House Bill 2858. This is a record vote. The clerk will ring the bell. Show Ms. Villalobos voting aye. Show Ms. Plessa voting aye. Show Mr. Lujan voting aye. Show Mr. Anchia voting aye. Mr. Lopez of Bear voting aye. Mr. Romero voting aye. Mr. Guillen voting aye. Have all voted? There being 70 ayes, 73 nays, House Bill 2858. Verification has been requested. Members, please take your seats.
Is Mr. Leach on the floor of the House? Show him present, voting nay. Is Ms. Campos on the floor of the House? Show her present, voting aye. Is Mr. Cortez on the floor of the House? Strike his name. Is Ms. Hinojosa on the floor of the House? Strike her name. Is Mr. Morales on the floor of the House? Show him present, voting aye. Is Mr. Vo on the floor of the House? Strike his name. The following have informed the chair their machines malfunctioned. Representatives Cook and Smithy voted nay, but were shown voting aye. Show them voting nay. Show Representative Verdell voting nay. The verification reflects there are 65 ayes and 76 nays. House Bill 2858 fails to pass to engrossment.